Hi everyone, Bernard here with the latest Citizen vlog, and it's a moments in time. So we're going to go back to the 4th of June in the year 2008, so not too many years ago. To some I do, only 12 years ago from when I'm recording, or this recording originally goes out. Obviously it may have been redone and looked at many times after that, or many years, etc. Who knows, perhaps long time after I'm no longer with us. You never know, these things are out there, aren't they? I mean, that's the thing I always thought with YouTube and stuff. Obviously people are putting sort of history on YouTube, aren't they? And it's a sort of new media, and who owns it, and what happens when people pass on it, and all this. I know it's a morbid thing to talk about, isn't it? But you have to look at these things, don't you? So anyway, I'm looking at the 4th of June 2008. Doesn't matter when it is, does it? And a moment in time, and it was the appointment of a new Manchester City manager. This is a Citizen vlog, and it was obviously the appointment of a certain Mark Hughes. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, please push the old subscribe button, push the bell notification. I'm not depressed you too much with the first minute of this. I mean, please, I'm not usually this morbid. I'm quite cheerful normally. Please make sure your notifications are pushed to public. So obviously you do get these notifications from me or anyone else you subscribe to, and push the notifications button. A lot of people's are set to private. They don't realise. Just check your settings. Yeah, so it was a funny one actually, Mark Hughes. It was a time of my life personally when I had a few problems where I wasn't getting to see. I saw City on the TV, but I wasn't actually a season card holder at this time. Obviously you can. I was a few personal things going on in my life. I'm not going into after that start I've just made. I'm not going to go into any great details about my personal things, but I was lucky, or. I was lucky or not lucky, or fortunate or not fortunate to see much of Mark Hughes' tenure at City. So most people will say I was quite lucky. So hey, there you go. That's a bit mean on poor Mark Hughes, isn't it? But yeah, on the 4th of June, he was given a 3-year contract. I believe Chelsea were after him at the time as well, Mark Hughes. And I'm just looking at the City book. This obviously on the managers. Just a very brief thing on Mark Hughes. He had a solid, what they said about Mark Hughes when he came, he had a solid record in management and was not an unpopular choice to replace Sven-Göran Eriksson, despite his obvious United connections. Well, I'll be honest with you, I didn't want to. Like any, I'm very dyed-in-the-wool City fan. I wasn't overly impressed by the appointment of Mark Hughes, that's for sure. And obviously he came in, didn't he, before the Abu Dhabi takeover as well. So that was a few months after Mark Hughes had come in. So he's always going to get a bit of a go, wasn't he? But he always got the feeling that they wouldn't really want him long term unless he did something fantastic. Unfortunately not. Yeah, Mark Hughes was born in November 1963, the 1st November 1963. Of course, he played for Manchester United. He had 2 spells at United. Oh, I forget that. I forget he went to United, went elsewhere and came back. He's obviously at Barcelona. He played on loan at Bayern Munich. He played for Chelsea, Southampton, Everton, Blackburn Rovers, and 72 times for Wales. So quite a good pedigree as a player. He actually, before City, had managed Wales from 1999 to 2004. And obviously, he sort of pulled Wales up a little bit. They had some good results, but they never quite qualified. I think they missed out on the European Championship, and they definitely missed out on the World Cup. So he went from Wales to sort Blackburn out, and Blackburn sort of got him to try and keep them up. They've been struggling a little bit, and he certainly accomplished that in the first season at Blackburn. His highest position was his second year at Blackburn, 2005-2006, where he finished 6th, and they actually achieved UEFA qualification. So that was one of his achievements, and they did reach an FA Cup semi-final as well, but they got beat by Chelsea. So in his last season at Blackburn, before he came to City, he obviously had a contract to 2009, but he finished 7th with Blackburn in 2007 and 8 before joining City. So he wasn't setting the world alight, was he? I mean, he did have a few quid at Blackburn, and his team, I think for 3 years, certainly 3 or 4 years, his team had finished bottom of the disciplinary table. So he was accused of being quite physical and dirty with his team. So, and obviously finishing bottom of the fair play or the disciplinary table probably sort of backs that up. Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at a couple of programmes from the say. I'm not as prolific on the programmes with these, but just looking at a couple of programmes from his first season at Manchester City. I mean, it's towards the end because we actually had a game against Blackburn Rovers towards the end of the season. And this was after the Hamburg quarter-final loss, you know, where we'd had fantastic, wasn't it, that night? I remember the Hamburg game, we were losing 3-1, and we ended up winning the second leg 2-1, but not quite enough, obviously, so that knocked us out. But it was interesting because he commented in his column, just a little column there, his comments were reading from his column: "I am so pleased that we finally got another away win in the league for all the fans that have followed us on the road in the hope of seeing one since Sunderland last August." So that sort of sums it up, really. I mean, our away form was terrible. I think we beat August, the 31st of August in 2008, and it wasn't till, I think it was the Everton game. Yeah, it was the Everton away at, get the date on that one for you. Everton away on the 25th of April, so it's from the 31st of August, 25th, we actually got a away league win. So that was just sort of give you an idea, didn't it, of the problems we were having. And he was sort of, obviously he was pleased, and I think we were actually pleased as well. At one stage that season, we were actually as high as third, but obviously we didn't stay up there, and I think we finished about mid-table that season as well. And then he go on to the season after his final season with us. By December, obviously he'd actually left the club. But one thing I did notice, this was right in a Carling Cup game in September 2009. He did sort of always not flatter the fans, but he did always try and get the fans on his side by saying things like, I mean, he's quoted here: "We are shoulder to shoulder with the fans and we know how much it's hurt, but there are lots of positives we can take from the game." And he was talking obviously about the defeat at Old Trafford, the 4-3, obviously the 4-3 defeat, with a fantastic game, such a disappointment, obviously. He was talking about that, which had followed the Adebayor Arsenal game where we'd won 4-2 was it called the City of Manchester Stadium? It wasn't called the Etihad then, was it? Obviously. So it was following that. So he was always quite good at putting this sort of spin on it to try and get the fans. And you could read his column, and I've read 2 or 3 of his columns, and he's always thanking the fans. And certain managers don't do that, but I always noticed Mark Hughes tried to do it. Perhaps he had to try and work a little bit harder being an ex-United player. And just say, he never endeared himself to me. And obviously, as I said, I was quite fortunate that I got to see 1 or 2 games, but I certainly didn't see the quantity of games I would have seen other seasons during that period of City's record. I mean, just looking at his record overall before he was sacked, his win percentage, it's not that bad. 46.75% win percentage, so it's not too bad. His total games in charge was 77. He had 77 games in charge. He'd won 36, so just under half, drawn 15 and lost 26. And we'd scored 129 and against 101, so not as we know, obviously. A lot of those draws, I think, came in his last few months of the tenure, wasn't it? I mean, obviously, what some of the fans had to suffer. And I say I was fortunate that I didn't have to suffer that, but hey, I've been through far worse than that, I'm sure. I can assure you. But there you go. So yeah, that was Mark Hughes, who was appointed manager in this moment in time on the 4th of June 2008. So, thanks. So I'm glad to have shared that with you. If you enjoyed that, please let me know in the comments. And what do you think of Mark Hughes? What were your impressions of his? He wasn't there long, was he? But I was never going to really love him unless he did something fantastic. Because in the same way that when the announcement of Steve Coppell was announced, I had no real joy in that either. Because I'm a City fan, and I don't really like these certainly someone like Hughes, who caused me lots of pain personally over the years, obviously playing for United. I think the best, even when we won the 5-1 at Main Road, it was Hughes' goal you used to see on the telly all the time. They never used to show the City goals. It was always Mark Hughes' goal, the odd goal they scored in the 5-1, in our wonderful 5-1 victory. So he was a pain, wasn't he, to us, Mark Hughes. And Coppell, in his own way, he was a pain to us as well. So he was never going to be my favourite anyway. So anyway, thanks for joining me for that. Please, for all the latest City news, if you're into movies and TV dramas, please follow me on Twitter. I've got 2 accounts. You can follow me on both or either. It doesn't matter. I sort of link together the 2. At Charles Deneen, Deneen spelled DINNN, and at nostalgia_movie. And I always check every couple of days and follow everyone back. So if you want an extra follower, please do that. And I'm on Facebook at Burn Deneen with links to moviegamenostalgia.com, my little website for old rare DVDs, movie posters from the 1990s and 2000s, and some old board games on there as well. So you can spend a couple of minutes having a look on moviegamenostalgia.com. Thumbs up to you. Anyway, thanks for joining me today. Hopefully you can join me again for something very similar very soon, or even a quiz or some city present stuff if anything happens on the football front. Obviously the team are back in training, so who knows, we might get to see some football, or even if it's only on telly, but that's another story, isn't it? Anyway, thanks for watching today. Whatever you're going to do the rest of the day, have a great one. Look after yourselves, look after your friends, look after your families, and let's all look after each other. This is Bernard saying goodbye for now. See you all again soon. Bye-bye.